A low-ranking far-right Republican.
Johnson, a hard-right conservative.
A hard-right conservative.
A hard-line conservative.
Far-right, far Christian right.
Far-right extreme.
Extreme. Far-right.
Far-right. Far-right.
Much further to the right.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. It was a week that MSNBC's Morning Joe crew was very upset that the proposed GOP funding measure to assist Israel is partially paid for with money that was going to the IRS.
They are actually putting billionaires between the protection of Israel and the United States Congress. They are slashing funding for the IRS to go after billionaire tax cheats.
Yeah, except there's 735 billionaires in the U.S., and depending on who you believe, Biden's bill would fund somewhere between 20,000 to 87,000 additional IRS agents. That works out to something like 27 to 118 new agents per billionaire. It might be a little bit of overkill, especially when you consider the IRS has nearly 100,000 employees already. But, Halloween was this week, so maybe Scarborough decided he'd just be Bernie Sanders.
And they think this is the solution. I would say, I've got a solution. Why don't we just have a billionaire tax?
The millionaires and billionaires who have done extraordinarily well in recent years.
That's scary. Socialists for Halloween. You know what's scarier, though? Killing babies. But the left loves to do that, and this week, this is bizarre. On Univision, they blamed an increase in the infant mortality rate on a lack of abortion access.
Un nuevo análisis de los Centros para el Control de Enfermedades y el Centro Nacional de Estadísticas Vitales reveló que de 2021 a 2022 la tasa de mortalidad infantil aumentó un 3%, el mayor aumento en 2 décadas. Según expertos, las causas pueden ser la falta de atención a la maternidad, limitando la capacidad de los padres de procurar al bebé, y también la falta de derechos reproductivos que obliga a millones de mujeres a llevar a término embarazos no deseados.
So I guess if they could kill the babies earlier, that would somehow be better? What's even worse is if you read the CDC and National Center for Vital Statistics report, the claim is never actually made in the study. They give a lot of reasons for the infant mortality increase, but lack of abortion access is not one of them. Univision simply just invented this. But, why mix truth in with your leftist media propaganda? You wouldn't want to do that. The leftist media always prefers to ignore actual truth, like the 40 grand that was traced back to the big guy this week.
That's a check made out to Joe Biden for $40,000. His brother's wife wrote him the check. But where'd the money come from? James Comer found out.
$40,000 in laundered China money landed in Joe Biden's bank account in the form of a personal check.
China wired Hunter's company $5 million. Hunter's company wired Hunter $400,000. Hunter's company wired Biden's brother money, and then Biden's brother's wife wrote Joe a check for 40 grand. Well, wait a second. What's 10% of 400,000? That's 40 grand. That's 10% for the big guy.
A shocking reveal and simple math exposed, but just as in the past with Biden bribery allegations, the big three networks give it no coverage. As usual, they were busy with those important stories of the evening.
Some good news for fans of superstar Celine Dion. The 5-time Grammy Award winner made a rare public appearance on Monday to watch the NHL's Las Vegas Golden Knights take on her hometown team, the Montreal Canadiens.
Perhaps they read Hunter Biden's op-ed in USA Today this week and felt compelled to keep ignoring Biden family bribery schemes. The op-ed was actually a lot funnier than the comic section. Hunter's upset that people aren't celebrating him and instead have made him a punchline. And CNN took notice of this.
Welcome back to Inside Politics, an emotional new op-ed out this morning from Hunter Biden. The first son rarely speaks out publicly, but in USA Today, he writes about his struggle with addiction and attacked the Republicans.
Time to convene a CNN panel on the topic. Hunter's treated unfair. It's so sad. But what happens when things get near mentioning his family's foreign money income? Sound bites just suddenly get cut off.
He made a fortune. My son. And he didn't have a job. My son, like a lot of people we know at home, had a drug problem. He's overtaken it. He's fixed it. He's worked on it, and I'm proud of him. But why was he proud of my son?
I mean, it's a form of psychological warfare that Republicans practice.
Also not getting media coverage is Biden's new primary challenger, Congressman Dean Phillips. You almost never hear his name on the net. ABC News in particular goes out of their way to not mention him until, oh yeah, you guessed it, the hags at The View found out about him this week.
This is an election about the future. I will not sit still. I will not be quiet in the face of numbers that are so clearly saying that we're going to be facing an emergency next November.
Who is that?
Apparently he was elected in 2018.
That's my problem. It's like, I think if you are going to take on a president who has done so much for this country so far and has restored in many ways the soul of this country, which was his promise, you gotta have some kind of name recognition, I think. I need to be excited. You need to be able to get the young voters out. You need to get the independents out. You need to get the black folks out. I looked at him like, okay.
You just met him though, Sonny. Give him a minute.
But I don't know. It wasn't exciting.
I like that super exciting Joe Biden that they love.
But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
Sorry, we shouldn't make any comments about Biden's need for naps. The folks at The View are really sick of hearing about that.
I don't like people who start with this age. I'm really over this ageism. I'm really over it.
Yeah, discussing a president's age and mental and physical state is an insult to View hosts. Well, except a couple of years ago.
Trump is old too, and he's not in shape.
Oh yeah, for Republicans, it's completely okay to talk about it. The leftist media is nothing if not propagandist for the Democrats. Last Friday, they didn't even know who Speaker Mike Johnson was. Some of them didn't even know his name.
That Congressman Mike Richards, now Speaker, the Speaker is Mike Johnson. Speaker Johnson is the person.
But give the Democrats one day to issue their talking points to their lapdogs, and the media starts repeating the catchphrases, and they're all the same. It's really amazing.
Does this signal that he and his extreme views represent the Republican Party? An extreme far-right religious ideologue from Louisiana.
This guy's a Christian nationalist.
He's a Christian nationalist.
A low-ranking far-right Republican.
Johnson, a hard-right conservative.
A hard-right conservative.
A hardline conservative.
Far-right, far Christian right.
Far-right extreme.
Extreme. Far-right.
Far-right. Far-right.
Oh, like Parrots, led by Democratic tax pirates. Glad they got all of Biden's notes. Johnson was just so extreme and so bad, that's why they didn't know who he was all this time. But now.
Jim Jordan with a jacket and a smile.
Jim Jordan with a jacket and a smile.
It was very clear that he was, despite that Ned Flanders vibe, a fire-breathing conservative.
Yeah, now he breathes fire. I'm Eric Shiner from MRC-TV, asking you to help us alert people to the flaming media bias that gaseous leftists touch off. Go to the MRC homepage, hit that donation button. Visit MRCTV.org for the latest in videos, information, and entertainment. And like, share, and subscribe to us on the platforms that allow you to see us. We'll be back next week with another look at leftist media madness.